People often mention the economic effects of Brexit, and the discussion can quite often be abstract. So I'd like to put it in more real terms. So how do you think Brexit will affect Wales in terms of wages and employment?
We will lose jobs and we'll have worse paid jobs. It's as simple as that. If you look at somewhere like the Ford factory in Bridgend, for the next few years post-Brexit, there'd still be jobs there and decent jobs. When the next investment choice is made about where to build an engine or what to build, who on earth thinks that Ford are going to invest in somewhere outside of the European Union with the extra costs that requires? So it's big places like Ford, like Airbus, but actually small and medium manufacturers and businesses as well still have to send their goods into and out of Europe too. So big costs for every business. And that means we will lose jobs and have poorly paid jobs to replace the ones we currently have. So our country and our people will be poorer.
So likewise, how will Brexit affect the provision of public services, such as in particular health and social care in Wales?
Well, Brexit is a huge problem for the provision of the health service. I have a group of stakeholders across health and social care who come together. We're now stockpiling or looking to stockpile medicines across the UK. I don't believe anyone voted for that. There are some forms of medication that won't be available to us if we leave without a deal. So, for example, we don't make enough insulin for type 1 diabetics within the UK to treat all of our type 1 diabetics. In Wales, there are 14,500 people who are type 1 diabetics. Now, who on earth thought they were voting to compromise the health of those people? And we have the challenges on staff, some of whom are already voting with their feet and leaving our services. It will make it more difficult to persuade people to come here in the future if we leave. And if you don't believe me, take a look at the register of nurses and midwives. The numbers of people from Europe are coming into our country has suffered a catastrophic fall right across the UK. Now, I don't believe that's the sort of future people thought they were voting for when they voted leave. That's why I think we should have this argument again about whether to accept Theresa May's deal or to stay within the European Union.
And on the deal, I'm glad you brought it up because that's the next question. You don't have to be polite about this at all. What do you think of Theresa May's deal?
It's a bad deal. Yeah. It doesn't meet Labour 6 tests. No Labour representative should vote for Theresa May's deal. We should be absolutely clear about that.
Yeah. Some people might argue that we had a referendum to leave the EU in 2016. Wales voted to leave. It's up to Parliament to enact the will of the people. Therefore, a Welsh Assembly member arguing for a people's vote is unnecessary and anti-democratic. Any response to that?
How can you say, ask the people what they think in a vote is anti-democratic? We had a vote on the idea of Brexit, and the idea of Brexit meant different things to different people. That's why all the leading leavers, like Boris Johnson, have left the cabinet. David Davis left the cabinet. Liam Fox is still in there, but he's the man who said it would be the easiest trade deal in history. And now the government that he's a part of recognises the trade deal wouldn't be ready until the mid-2020s. So that's another 7 years or so from now. So the promises that were made have proven to be fantasies. So we need to be clear about that. We shouldn't be afraid to tell people they were lied to. The challenge then is, what do we say about what the alternative is? That doesn't mean people were stupid if they were told lies and they believed them. We all know it happens in everyday life. But this is about the lives of each and every one of us for the next 20 years and more. And that's why I believe the people should have the final say.
Do you have any comment on the position of your leadership rivals in regards to a people's vote?
Well, myself and Elena Morgan broadly agree. Mark Drakeford has a different position. He's changed his mind through the campaign. In the first hustings in Cardiff, he said there is nothing courageous about campaigning for a people's vote. He said it was a slogan, not a policy. I'm pleased to see he's moved on from that a bit. But I think that's a problem because the tone of what we say in politics really matters. If you want to lead the campaign for a people's vote, we have to win that campaign first. That means our party has to be clear and unambiguous about wanting a people's vote. And you can't do that reluctantly within the last few days. So we have to make that choice well in advance of the end of March next year. We need to be honest with ourselves and the public that a general election is hugely unlikely. There is not a single Tory voice calling for a general election before the end of March next year. So it isn't going to happen. So let's be honest about the reality. Let's lead, not follow the campaign for a people's vote. And let's make sure that we are credible advocates of that case with all the facts about what it will mean for every single family in our country when we do so.
And finally, how likely do you think a people's vote is? And what would your advice be to people who want one?
Well, there's no certainty we'll get a people's vote. What is certain, if we don't fight for it, it won't happen. And anybody who wants a people's vote should get involved in one of the campaigns, whether it's a cross-party one or a Labour campaign, whether Labour Remain or Labour for a people's vote. It is in all our interest for as many people as possible, right across the Labour and trade union movement, to get involved in this campaign to persuade our leadership to do the right thing. This isn't about having a different leader within our UK party, it's about having the right policy for the future of our country. So write to your local councillor, write to your local assembly member, your local MP, get in touch and let them know how you feel and take part in one of the Labour campaigns to try and save our future, to make sure that our choice is about our future. And I believe that should be within the European Union.
Thanks very much.
Thank you.